Hello to all the Atlanta United fans. My name is Jurgen Damm, and you are watching Scarves and Spike, an Atlanta United podcast.
Scarves and Spike, Sydney, Tyler, and Tommy with you as we are getting ready for Atlanta United versus the New England Revolution. Third of three matches, guys, at the old Benz. I don't know why I call it the old Benz.
The old Benz.
The old. I don't call it the friendly confines because that's the Chicago Cubs. I feel like a copyright.
It has been friendly to any team in that team that plays in that stadium for quite some time. Maybe it is time to build a new one.
Maybe 20 years they build a new stadium.
Throw them up like candy.
25 years. Yeah. Guys, Atlanta United 2-1. So at least one team of the Atlanta United ecospace won over the past few days. A 24-hour match. The match went with 24 hours.
It was like a Quidditch match.
They trying to filibuster the game?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
right?
for real. I mean, to give some love to the academy teams. The academy teams had some wins as well. But the twos, they started on Sunday and finished on Monday. They played Inter Miami 2. Miami 2 came up here, and of course, for everybody that is in Georgia, I think all of Georgia and most of the country, honestly, you were well aware of the really bad weather that came through that day. You had two goals, one each within the first 6 minutes, back and forth game. And about the 25th minute, Moises Tablante just bangs one off the bar. It gets tipped out for a corner, and then they went into about a 20-hour rain delay.
He brought the rains down.
He did.
He hit it so hard.
He did. They actually finished the game the next day inside the Benz, which is really cool for the twos, actually.
Yeah.
So,
they won 3-2.
They won 3-2. Yeah, cranked it back up. Moises Tablante got a second goal, a brace, and Luke Brennan had an unassisted goal for the three Atlanta goals. Cayman Togashi, first team player, got an assist, and so did Cooper Sanchez.
I was looking at Jason Longshore. I think it was, Jason Longshore and Matty Cruz from Talker Down here were there. It's funny. I also saw their tweet or their post there from the Benz. It's like, no one there. There's a match going on. So it just felt weird. But it was closed door. I think you did mention that. It was closed door.
Yep. Yeah, the original version wasn't. It was just pouring down rain, and then they made it to the Benz, and of course that became closed door. So
right. The last time that happened, I feel like, remember that U.S. Open Cup match between Atlanta and Charleston? It's supposed to be in Charleston. Whether or the field condition was crap in Charleston, they had to move to Atlanta, and it got played behind closed doors. That was the Brandon Vasquez game, gentlemen.
Yeah,
you guys remember that?
Hero.
Tommy, you remember that?
I do, and I remember there was a band that was outside, so there were a couple supporters that stood outside the stadium, and you could lightly hear them on the telecast. That's dedication.
Are you thinking about the 2017 match between them? Because there was somebody there beating their drum like all hours of the night.
There was a game where it was closed to the fans, and the band snuck outside, and you could just hear it a little bit.
Yeah. That brought that memories of that, though, is my point. But shout out to the twos. 3-2 over Inter Miami 2. That's a lot of twos.
It is a lot of twos. First one of the season, too.
Win number 1.
Yeah.
Only when number 2 comes next time.
Yes.
It's a lot of twos.
Tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, actually.
Two twos, 1 win.
2 twos, 1 win. Exactly. Tommy, you're playing
that joke no further, Tommy.
Yeah.
I left it there.
All right, carry on.
People could use their imagination for the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get into it and look ahead to New England Revolution, of course, Jamie Watson will be joining us from MLS Season Pass to talk about the match. and other stuff around MLS. I can't imagine anything else happened that we need to touch on with him. But Tommy, you're playing a little hurt today, aren't you? You're going to be able to make it through?
I'm on so many meds. Like the weather keeps changing here. Like it's 60 degrees, then it's 30 degrees. It's been like down to 20. So I took the Mucinex, I took the Allegra D, any medicine that had D at the end of it, I took it. I pounding a drink. I am never sleeping tonight. I am never sleeping tonight. Nothing. There's no sleep.
Call of Duty all nighter, Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
So, guys, I mean, I'm thinking about Dallas, and obviously we'll get into New England, but we already talked about Dallas being a missed opportunity, right? Especially with a team like New England who are struggling to find identity, struggling to find their way under Caleb Porter again. And 2025, Caleb Porter firmly on the hot seat. Missed opportunity. Like every game you go at, obviously you want to get 3 points, but this felt like more of a missed opportunity because you have New England coming in on Saturday. I don't want to downplay New England at all.
Knock on wood.
No, we can't.
Exactly.
We're not going to treat them. We're not going to go as low as how Sydney treated Dallas.
Well, I didn't. So I came to my senses, though, guys. I came to my senses about
They're
Dallas.
good.
They're okay. They're okay. They have quality, of course, in Lucho and Petar Musa. They're okay. Dallas, I mean, New England is not. And again, you don't want to downplay them too much, but this is MLS. Anything can happen. I feel like for that reason, you really need it the win against Dallas. I'm sure if you ask the guys in the locker room, they're going to say, we got to look at every match the same, every opponent the same. Anybody can beat anybody. But New England, definitely in turmoil. Definitely, Caleb Porter's next loss could mean his job. And I feel like, again, like I said, Dallas was a missed opportunity. Hopefully, you go into this weekend prepared. I know, Tyler, you were at training on Tuesday. Maybe you'll talk about something they said the players said, but you gotta win at home. I feel like we've beat this drum over and over again, but you just have to win at home. I mean, a draw isn't good enough. 2 shots on goal isn't good enough. Like, one of those shots on goal was not out of open play, not from open play. You gotta win. Period.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't able to hop on with you guys on Sunday, but I said I thought this game was going to be a draw. I said 2-2 draw. So it was a little bit more boring than what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
But then after you watch the game and you see it play out, and Lucho just did not look like the Lucho that we've seen against Cincinnati. Like he was very frustrated throughout that game. Looks like a lot of Atlanta United players at times that we've seen throughout the years when we talked about nobody knew what they were doing. Like he was just like, get me the ball. Get me the ball. And no, he was not involved at all. So then I walk out of that game.
Still almost made him pay on one really good sequence, but
for sure. But when he was with Cincinnati, it was like all the time you had to keep an eye on him, and he just really wasn't getting the ball. So now after I watched that game, and I say a draw would be fine in my eyes, then it was like, we should have won that one. We absolutely should have won that game. And now you go into this game with New England, and the results haven't been good for them, but the games are close. The games are very close, and we'll get into that a little bit later. You can't turn off. You can't turn off in this game because, like you said, anything can happen in MLS, any sports league, anything can happen anytime. But this is a game where you absolutely need 3 points, not 1 point, not one. That's
not
why
two.
I said in the Discord, Tyler's gonna shave his beard if New England gets a point out of this. That's what he said.
Prior engagements.
Your eyes said so. Your eyes said that.
I think Tyler shaving his beard. I feel like we have more things to worry about if Atlanta loses to New England.
Well, there needs to be consequences. And Tyler's beard is the consequence. You need a consequence for that.
Yeah, it's a consequence.
But
for everybody.
Amador, you're shaving your beard. Sorry. It's gone. Brad, you're shaving your head.
Yeah. No, but just real quick, Tommy, you've mentioned in the past on past shows, the need for Atlanta United to get fans back in the building and get fans fired up about this team. If you listen to New England, a lot of that goodwill goes out the window. I'm not saying we're not going to be getting to like fire Ronnie Dyla or anything like that for a while, but the heat will be on more than I feel like it has been in a while around this team. In the post-Pineda era, I think, and certainly in the Garth Lagerway era, because you brought in all these players, you brought in this $22 million striker, which isn't the problem. You brought in this $13 million midfielder who has been up and down, for lack of a better phrase. You brought in these quote-unquote reinforcements, and you only have this amount of points on the season. I mean, you gotta show something. You gotta show something more than you showed against Dallas. Not to say they were terrible against Dallas, but certainly more than you showed against Dallas.
100%. But you have all these pieces, and they came into it. Garth came into this and said, "Here's all the pieces.
Yeah.
Here's the puzzle. We're putting them in." But what he didn't realize is that the pieces aren't fitting the way that he wanted them to. In a perfect world, Saba's going to play on the left. He's going to play well. Miggy's going to be on the right. He's not going to say that he prefers to play in the middle. No. He's going to work out there. Marinchuk's going to work out perfect exactly where he was last season. Yeah. Everything's going to fit together until it didn't. And now you've got these pieces, and you're trying to figure out. I mean, we're questioning every week and every MLS announcer that comes on here, where's Marinchuk going to play? Where's he going to play this week? Where's Almiron going to play? Where's Saba? Like it's not working out. And now you've got it where if you set it up the way that the players would prefer, then Silva is your starting left winger. And I have not seen enough out of him to say that going into the playoffs, I don't think right now at this point, he is a starting left winger that's going to help you win MLS Cup. And I don't think you have anyone on this roster at this point that is the above average MLS winger that is going to help you contribute to getting some wins and to take you on a long playoff run. So then the question is, how do you fit that? That's what we talked about in Spaces. Where do you go out and get that? How do you the roster, and you got a little bit of cap space, but how do you do it? And like Gray talked about, maybe bringing in a U22 winger to come in there. But then if you bring that in, he's not very experienced. Can he make an immediate impact? It's a problem that we're probably going to be talking about all the way up until hopefully the playoffs.
I don't want to talk about it all the way to the playoffs.
Well, I mean,
the summer at least, hopefully.
Unless you replace him, But I mean, if you keep Silva there for the entire season, you hope he improves. Like, absolutely, you hope, and you've seen glimpses of it. Yeah. But we've always seen glimpses of it. When he was completely healthy 2 seasons ago, it was flip a coin. Is he going to be the guy that attacks the defenders and causes chaos everywhere, or is he the guy that you forget he's on the field? It's one or the other. There's no middle.
Yeah.
This kind of ties into training yesterday, but I think with Silva. Because I mean, he's going to be, if they try to play the way that they're trying to play, or at least I think they're going to try to play with Miggy still central, Saba over at the right, because admittedly Saba needs to be on the right. He's just not as effective on the left. We'll beat that dead horse for sure. I mean, if something suddenly changes and Saba can kind of get that going, then it solves a lot of problems. But you don't want to experiment too much, considering that we know he's a known factor on the right-hand side.
Right.
So when you look at Silva, one thing that I've noticed, and I said this to Henry and Jackson at the press box the other night, but I like the connection, and it's on and off the field, that Shande Silva and Tristan Muyumba have. They're buddies, they're friends, they're always joking around. At training yesterday, they come out, they're cracking up, dying, laughing about something, like on each other's shoulders. Like, they're always hanging out. And it shows on the field. I think
talking about you.
Yeah, probably about our podcast.
Yeah.
But they on the pitch, I do feel a lot more comfortable when you have Muyumba playing with Silva and vice versa. I think that connection's there. So I say all that to say, Tristan Muyumba, is having a resurgence, and we'll talk about maybe our Sweetwater man of the match here in a little bit, but I think he's a contender for probably a couple of matches this season already. And if he is getting into the right headspace and working towards, his goal, I hope that rubs off on Shande, and I hope it kind of builds him back up, because when they both came in at the same time, they both were knocking it out of the park. Tristan Miyamba
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that Tristan Miyamba talked yesterday about kind of like what he did in the offseason. He said, like, 2024 was I wasn't happy with it. Was not happy with the season. And he talked a lot about how he said he did a lot of walking and like thinking and like, being mindful and just going through kind of like what happened, talking with his family, having conversations about it, talking with the people around him, and just getting like kind of out of the funk and getting ready for preseason. He said when he came into preseason, he was ready to go. He had a goal. He knew what he wanted to do. Yeah. And I think you're seeing that now on the pitch, and he's rapidly working his way back into one of those guys that you can't not start.
Yeah, and I was going to say earlier, you just have to hope that he stays healthy. But I said this the other day, with a guy like Shande, or a guy like Tristan, Shande certainly, but if you're a guy like Tristan, you see a new coach coming in, you got to prove yourself, because Ronnie Dialis made it clear, if you don't show improvement, you're not going to play. I mean, he said that. But if you're a player like Tristan Muyumba, who you have some good midfield depth. You have, of course, him. You have, of course, Fortune. Of course, Will Riley here now. Of course, you have Kleek. You have Sleesh. So there's a lot of, not pressure, but there's a lot of motivation for guys in that spot, or guys where it's depth to perform at their highest level and train at their highest level every time they hit the field. Because if they don't, they're either going to fall out of the plans of the manager or be moved out, or both. So I think part of that is driving Tristan, and part of that is why you've seen such a strong run of form for him. You hope that, maybe Shande, yes, isn't one of the top wingers in MLS. I'm sure everybody understands that. But you hope, like you said, that rubs off on Shande, that work ethic. Not to say he's not a hard worker, but a desire to do better, the desire to improve himself every time he hits the field, every time he trains. These guys, I feel like Tristan has a chip on his shoulder. He knows what happened last year, Tyler. You talked about it. So I think that's definitely driving him to be the best version of himself he can be. And if he can do that, this team will be better.
Word.
When he's on, he's on. He really is. I mean, think about when he first came in and what everybody was saying. It was like
just has to stay on. Yeah,
breath of fresh air. But yeah, he's got to stay on. I asked him yesterday because I asked Dyla in the post-match press conference, but I asked Tristan as well, like, about controlling the tempo of the game, because I think that's been one of my biggest gripes is, really quickly touching on the Dallas game.
Yeah.
59th minute or whatever it was, Dallas makes 3 attack-minded subs. A minute later, trying to play out of the back, trying to force the same tempo that you've been forcing. That's been effective, but now you're 60 minutes in, 60-minute tired legs against, at least 3 fresh legs, and you try to force the same tempo and immediately get scored on. Right. And so I asked him, like, what about controlling the tempo? And he said, that's one of my jobs. That is absolutely one of my jobs. And he said sometimes it's not something that we think about like consciously. It's just we have to know when to slow the game down and when to speed it up. But he did say, like, Dyla has told them, and the team wants to be a team that if they're defending, they're still doing it in the opponent's half. Yep. They want to be forcing the other team deep. They want them to be pressed back really deep, and you just trying to, continue to put pressure on them. And Miyamba he has to be the metronome for a lot of that. And I just think, like, hearing him talk yesterday, I don't know, we've kind of switched from Shande to Miyamba, but hearing him talk yesterday gave me a lot of confidence on just like how he's maybe getting back. I don't know if it's getting back in the right headspace, just, trashing last year and moving on from it and getting back to where he can be and he knows he can be. But that, along with like the work ethic of a guy like Miggy, that needs to rub off on the rest of the squad. And if it does, then you're in a good position.
I also want to make. I can't talk. I also want to see Cleek get healthy and Amador get healthy, because this team is so much better with those two players on the field. Cleek, I feel like, is a little bit troubling that he can't remain healthy. He can't stay on the pitch. He can't stay 90 minutes fit. Amador, you hope he's back for New England in some form and fashion.
He was fully training yesterday.
Good.
So was Click.
Yeah. So just hope that players like that can really bring things together, because remember, and it's not an excuse, you haven't really had an opportunity to play your best choice 11 outside of maybe 1 or 2 matches this season.
None.
So, yeah. Well,
none.
Yeah,
we were close. And then Amador got hurt in warm-ups.
Exactly. So, you haven't had the opportunity. Maybe once you get that best choice 11 on the pitch, maybe things will start to click a little more. So good to hear about Sleesh, of course. Good to hear about Click. Good to hear about Amador, because you need that. You need those players to be out there. Certainly when you take on New England, but certainly with this stretch of games coming up on the road. And we've talked about previously, guys. These aren't easy matches coming up for them on the road.
No.
Got to take care of business
Philly
at
sold
home.
their soul earlier this morning.
They may as well.
It might have became a little bit easier, but that's for an MLS Monday.
It is.
Yeah.
Tune in.
Right. and plug.
7 o'clock Monday.
Right.
I'll say this too, in terms of this coming weekend. I know we're going to talk more about it later, but you talk about having that, whatever you want to call it, the first choice starting 11. There is going to be a guy in the stadium who's going to be keeping an eye on at least a couple of players for Atlanta United, which I think is very interesting.
American players.
Mauricio Pochettino supposed to be in the bins.
Interesting.
Brooks Lennon, I see in the chat. We've had a handful of people talking about it, but definitely keep an eye on Brooks Lennon. But you also got to think about the center back situation. Stian Gregerson, he did train a little bit yesterday. I would be shocked, though, if he is on the starting 11 come Saturday. In the drills that they were doing, that they were working on, especially the full pitch size drills, your main center back pairing was Noah Cobb and Luis Abram. And before anybody freaks out, like, y'all know how I feel about Noah. I think Noah is the future center back of this organization. And I know everybody has opinions about Luis Abram, but they looked amazing yesterday. They looked really good. And like to the point where the coaching staff was like applauding them and clapping for them. And like the things that they were literally saying, we're one of the things I overheard yesterday was, we're doing this until we get it perfect. Hey, let's go. And then, shortly after, Luis Abram and Noah Cobb are getting essentially a standing ovation. So it's encouraging. But Pochettino will be there to see Noah Cobb, which I think would be a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
And definitely Brooks Lennon. We know how bad he wants to get back in the national team conversation. So see where it goes.
Got to show it on the field too.
Yeah.
Got to show it on the field.
I mean, this is a great opportunity for any individual player to really show out.
Yeah.
No offense, New England.
Right.
I'm scared.
You just were so confident about it.
You're bringing this down, Tommy.
I've been through a lot.
You told me to not knock on wood.
Yeah.
We've been through a lot over the few years, and when we talk about these type of games, it's we come out of it going, we should have gotten 3 points. And looking at it being Cobb and Abram, I'm happy that they're doing this in practice. I'm absolutely excited about it, but I don't care until Saturday at 2:45 ish. Is that somewhere around there? That's when I'll get excited.
Kickoff time.
Being excited to see them go out there and be able to do it, and hopefully Abram. I think you definitely need Abram there to help out. You need his passing. You're obviously missing it. You just need to be able to put together a game to get them some momentum to going on the road. And I don't know if they lost momentum after the game. Obviously, they seemed very frustrated that they didn't get the 3 points there, and as they should be. They dominated a lot of that game. But it was either for all of us. I mean, a few of us said they need 9 points, and then a few of us said we need 7. You need one of the you need 7 now. You absolutely need 7.
Agreed.
100%.
I think obviously this team has a whole other set of issues to worry about when they have to go on the road. And by on the road, I'm not just in general, but especially that 6-game road trip that they're going to have to go on. It's always nice to bank points when you can, and at the end of the day, you should be winning at home. And I think that's why folks were so frustrated. Not just fans. Ronnie Dylas straight up said it multiple times. So did the players in the locker room. Like, they're not happy with, as much as they did in that first half to not score a second, maybe even a third. Muyamba talked about that yesterday too.
Yeah.
And when you talk about Luis Abram and kind of you're just nervous about like what's going to happen until opening whistle. I mean, if you look back at this last game, Luis Abram actually saved the game at one point. If it weren't for him, he single-handedly saved a goal. That and then we'd be having a totally different conversation right now.
That's really good. He was good.
I mean, I know he can be hit or miss, admittedly. I think, consistency is one of those things that's definitely tough to come by when you're essentially a backup. You're also an international player who you're leaving all the time. There's a lot going on there, but the good thing is Noah Cobb next to him in a similar way that Stian is to Derek Williams. Noah has the wheels on him to help just out of pure athleticism save up, opportunities that might otherwise you might get dunked on. So, I mean, if that's your center back pairing, I mean, let's go.
Could do a lot worse.
100%.
Do much worse. And
show out in front of Pochettino. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, he'll be 20, so he's not old, but he's not super young either. So he has a few miles on him. So hopefully looking forward to that next natural progression with Noah with Atlanta United, hopefully with the senior national team. He's gotten time with the youth national team, U20s, 7 caps with the U20s. Hopefully he gets more time. I don't know if he'll play the Gold Cup or anything like that, but hopefully he can get on Pochettino's radar. Again, we have Jamie Watson from MLS Season Pass joining us here in just a little bit. Before we do that, scarsandspikes.com. That's where you can go for all of our Atlanta United news, analysis, opinion, match day leading up to the match, after the match. On patreon.com/scarsandspikes. I'm looking to do some new fun things on there. Starting at $1.17 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month. Each one of those tiers gets you access to our Discord channels. And again, looking to tweak some of the benefits of those tiers. So
the gold tier
for that, the gold.
We'll have the gold tier. You don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. It's so secret. You don't even know what it is.
Yeah, we haven't even thought of that yet.
You need someone to clean your home. The gold tier. I live too far, but one of these two will show up, or Henry.
We'll do our best.
That's the platinum tier. If you need Henry to come clean your house, the platinum tier.
There it is.
We'll try. But yeah, maybe that'll be a benefit someday in the future. But for now, patreon.com/scarsandspikes to see what we have now. We're on socials: X, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, whole 9 yards. And go to our store. There's a link to our store at scarsandspikes.com. As we wait for Jamie, we may as well talk about this super quick. It's not Atlanta United related, but it's MLS related. What are the Philadelphia Union doing?
They got to have a plan. I don't think you make this move. Now, it was also reported,
give them too much credit.
Maybe, yeah. But I mean, I can't knock on them too much because they're third in the East right now and they're playing, pretty well. But I think it was also reported, and I forget who it was, Philadelphia journalist, but said that he wanted a pay raise. Philly wouldn't give it to him. Columbus would. Yeah. Columbus could admittedly use a guy like Daniel Gazdag, and
absolutely.
Philly has Vasilev, who maybe is the one that steps into that place, but then you get I'm sure a good chunk of change for him. You go out and you find somebody else that might benefit Philly even more. So it's a gamble, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Why don't you just pay Cucho? Why don't you just pay Cucho? He was the heart of your team. You paid the guy.
They got an offer they couldn't refuse for him, so I don't really blame him for selling him.
He was looking for a raise before that. He doesn't look to go if they pay him.
I know. Well, they have their number 10, another number 10, and
whatever.
I think Miami may still be the favorite in the East, but Columbus got much, much, much better with this trade. Not officially yet, as of this recording, but they did get much better than they are right now.
Hey, Philly does their thing, and they're shocking everybody anyway. So
yeah, for now at least. So want to drop that in there real quick, but yeah, Atlanta United versus the Philadelphia Union in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
This Saturday they're playing the New England Revolution, and on the call with MLS Season Pass with Josh Eastern, I believe, will be Jamie Watson. Jamie, how's it going?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm full soccer dad mode right now out at the soccer field with one eye on one kid that way and one eye the other way. So
been there many times.
It's the best thing ever, man. I'm loving it. And I'm here to talk all things Atlanta United with you guys. So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. So we'll get into Atlanta United in just a little bit, but I mean, you obviously have your eye on the league as a whole. Daniel Gazdag reportedly to the Columbus Crew. I mean, what are your thoughts when you heard about it?
Yeah, so I've got a great group chat with some of the other MLS broadcasters on there, and we were all surprised by the news, but I also think not too surprised if you followed sort of Philadelphia and how they've handled some of the outbound transfers, Julian Carranza, Jack Elliott before. And with Gazdag's contract fast approaching, and I apologize if this has already been touched on, but his contract was expiring. And I believe this was a case of getting something is better than nothing. If there were contract negotiations that were stalling on the other side of it for whatever reason, and the belief was that a deal wasn't going to get reached with Gazdag, then I think it's the right move to get something instead of 6 more months and then nothing for it. So while it's hard to lose a player of Gazdag's quality because he is immensely talented, has scored a ton of goals for that club for several consecutive years now, this conversation is a lot different in 6 months' time if he walks out the door for nothing and you can't get anything for a player in return. So you had to maximize the value while you could.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about this group chat. Like, is it like every other group chat out there? Like, someone obviously copies the tweet, they put it into the chat, and then are there just emojis everywhere, like the screaming emoji when something like that happens?
It's better than the group chat, the comment section on the right that's called me Andrew Carlton and Macklemore, and the Spanish. It's a lot more forgiving than this.
Right.
It's absolutely. We like to call ourselves the MLS Platinum Elite. I think that has to do with all of our different airline and hotel statuses more than anything else than actually being Platinum Elite at anything in life.
Is Twellman in it?
Twellman is not in it. He hasn't. I think the invite is out. It hasn't. He hasn't taken it yet, but he's always welcome to it. But it's a good chat, and I tell you what, we do have this one rule that whenever somebody gets a Bogert bomb, right, a Tom Bogert bomb, and the tweet or whatever the story gets posted into the group chat, if you are somebody that repeats dropping in there. You have to chug whatever it is whatever your drink of choice is. So if I was to be second best, I would have to take a video of me repeating what was or chugging whatever I have for repeating whatever was dropped into the group chat. So
it's probably a good thing that he tends to drop his stuff in the morning as opposed to night when you're drinking.
Right.
Whiskey
Exactly.
Very different chug for sure.
Yeah.
It's great though. We all love it and it's fun to be a part of. So it's a great group.
Sweet. So I guess jumping over to the weekend, and because we haven't talked to you this year, but what are your kind of overall thoughts of Atlanta so far, considering all the money they spent and everything else that happened in the offseason?
Man, I love Atlanta United. I got the chance to do their game with Josh Eastern a couple weeks ago when they played against Cincinnati. And that was also the week that there was, I think, 10 total players for Atlanta that were away on international duty. So Rodney Dyler was obviously very, very excited about that.
Yeah, just a little bit.
He wasn't excited about that one bit. But the performance though was a really good one. I think they took advantage of the deficiencies for Cincinnati, who were really struggling to get their center backs. At the time, Miazga was still out. Robinson was out. I think Nick Hagelin was only able to play 45 minutes. And Atlanta took advantage of some good movements from Latte Lot to force an own goal from Saba as he played the ball across. So I was really pleased with the performance on the road. TQL Stadium is a very difficult place. So I'm very excited to get a chance to see, a full strength Atlanta United. I got a chance back in the day to sort of train where Chris Henderson was working with the Sounders at the time. Garth Lagerway was in Salt Lake at the end of my tenure there. Those are two people that you can't sing their praises enough of what they've been able to achieve and what they've been able to do. So I really enjoy watching the way that this group plays. And then you get Miguel Almiron back. It feels like, a slice of the good old days have returned, and Latte Loth has been every bit as good as advertised coming over. So this group, I think, is one that is built to have some real depth, real challenge, 1 and 2 players at every position that are more than capable. And man, when it's all said and done, I think that there will be a real course correction from where Atlanta sit in the standings today. And when we have this conversation again in a couple weeks' time, when I get a chance to commentate again, I think it'll be very different. I think it's trending in the direction that we all expect it to, which is upwards.
Well, as a commentator, like as fans, we know we've been watching them week to week to week, and there should be a lot more in the goals for column, a lot more, and it hasn't. So as a commentator, how frustrating is it to watch a team play so well and then just not be able to score these goals?
Yeah, so I was an attacking player, and I love watching the attacking side of it. I would have loved to have played with a lot of hardworking players in behind the midfield, like Schleich, and Muyumbo puts the shift in, and you get the creativeness of Miguel Almiron, Latte Loth as a finisher. I walked away from that matchup impressed with his movement, and I think that he'll create goals. He'll create space for other players. I do think that Atlanta have created opportunities. They just haven't finished. The real worry begins when you're not creating opportunities, and it really dries up. Sorry about that. I think I think there's so much expectation for this group to be scoring 3, 4, 5 goals every time they step out on the pitch. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to put it together, and I think the problems will sort itself out.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, against Dallas, to a lesser extent, you saw some chances, but not a lot. Certainly, it clicked against NYC. Granted, it was a 4-3, so not a defender's dream exactly. But we've sort of seen proof of concept with this team. Why do you feel like they haven't put it together consistently? 7 matches into the season.
Look, there's a real issue with continuity and the time that it takes to develop it. Some of the best teams that I played on, and I'll speak from my own personal experience, were the groups that had a lot of returning players and less turnover, because I understood what the player next to me was going to do in certain situations. They understood what I was going to do. Now, you bring in some real electric players going forward, but it just takes time to understand and trust what you're going to do in certain moments, what certain tendencies are. I'll bring up a player that played for Atlanta back in the day, had a cup of coffee there, Dom Dwyer. Loved playing with Dom Dwyer because I understood what Dom Dwyer was going to do when he wanted to move somewhere, what he preferred to do, what his attributes were, what his weaknesses were. I think everybody from this group right now is starting to get to that point as we're roughly a fifth, almost a fourth of the way through the season. You're working through those moments in real time. And we as fans are expecting, hey, you're a good player, you're a good player, you're a good player. So let's put you guys all together and you're just going to figure it out. I don't think that we've seen that yet. We haven't seen the best version of Atlanta United. But it would be weird if you were. It would just be not weird. It would be surprising if we were seeing this group firing on all cylinders so quickly. I think this is probably far more of the expectation, and this is the long-term game here, that the team's going to be okay when we check in with them, as ahead of match day 8 here. They'll be much better. I anticipate at match day 16 as we do at match day, 25 as we do before the playoffs start, where they'll firmly be in contention for a home playoff spot, I believe.
So this is a question that we don't really ever get to ask any of y'all that come on. So it's
do I want to be an honorary 17 like the chat? Is that the question? Because
dude. Macklemore.
Yeah. Right. As long as I don't have to try to sing a song, a Macklemore song.
Yeah. No. So there is a good possibility that Mauricio Pochettino is going to be in the bins, and there's also a very good possibility that your two starting center backs, one of them will be young Noah Cobb, who he's had some call-ups before with the youth teams, and then Brooks Lennon, who has had, I think, one call-up with the senior team a couple of years ago, but he's kind of been on the fringes. He's told us in the locker room like he wants to be back, in that conversation, especially now, who doesn't. But as a player, what kind of pressure does that put on a performance when you know that coach is going to be there watching you?
I don't want to burst the bubble. I want to build into it and say that, like, oh my gosh, it means that he's not going to be able to sleep the night before, and it's going to mean everything in the world. I'll burst the bubble and say that we live in a world where you are 2 to 3 clicks away from a website that will dissect every touch and every movement, that goes through with your game, and every coach anywhere in the world can watch what any player anywhere in the world has been able to do. So I think a lot of players anticipate that every time that they step on the field, anyone will be able to dissect every touch, every pass, every shot, every movement, every action. So everybody at this level, at this point in this time, understands that Pochettino or any of his assistants can watch anything that they do anywhere. Now, having them in the building is a completely different thing. When you can look up to, the suites, and you can see the man himself there. Maybe that'll throw a little bit of a different wrinkle to that dynamic. And look, players are human like the rest of us. You get nervous, you get excited. Nobody's immune to it. So, yeah, I mean, for Noah Cobb, a young player that has a very bright future, will there be maybe a little bit sense of adversity that doesn't normally come with Pochettino being in attendance? Yeah. Maybe Pochettino's doing it to see if he can test him a little bit and see what it's like when I'm there. Not when it's in the back of your mind and you're not really thinking about it each and every week. When I'm there, how do you perform? So who knows? Maybe Pochettino's playing chess while we're playing checkers. I'm over here thinking it's not a big deal, and Pochettino's like, no, I know it's a big deal, and we'll find out if he can be up for it, on Saturday afternoon.
No, I was watching Tommy, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I was watching, staying with the men's national team. I was watching a Instagram reel. And Taylor Twellman was talking about, when the U.S. scored. I forget what match it was called. Everybody was kind of celebrating on their own. There wasn't a lot of unity that you could see on the field. Why hasn't this group really put it together under Pochettino thus far? I mean, you have Gold Cup coming up. Of course, you have World Cup in in 3 months or so, year and 2 months. Why hasn't things clicked as of now? Is it player selection, or is it just something deeper, you think, in the locker room?
Oh, if I had the right answer, I would be a rich man in this. I wouldn't be wearing my MLS season pass hoodie. I'd be wearing a U.S. men's national team, right. Pull over tonight. No, in all seriousness, I think that there's a reason why you've heard so many players, former Atlanta United player Dax McCarty as well, who's now with us on MLS 360. He came out and said this as much, and I think you've heard it from a lot of people. This group being dubbed the Golden Generation, I think that I personally believe that that's always been a saying that I wasn't sure where it came about or where it was earned. Yeah, we have the most amount of players playing at the most high-profile clubs than we have ever had at any point. Okay, so there is credence in that. But this group still has to find a way to actually do it at the international level when they all come together. I just don't think that this group, for my liking at the international level, has enough about them to put what they're ego and pride says about them because of where they play and what they've achieved at the club level to the side, to actually roll up your sleeve and understand what it's like to play for the national team, where performances are important, but results are more important. And I think that this group really is getting punched in the mouth. And it's the best thing that could happen for them as we sit in April of 2025 and the most important World Cup that we have had, maybe apart from the 1994 World Cup for the importance of that time. And every World Cup is important, but this one in particular. Mm-hmm. This group is going to have to prove that they are not soft, that they can win ugly, that they can be nasty. If I said right now, who's nasty on the U.S. men's national team? Nobody.
Yeah.
Not one player would come to mind right off the bat. You'd be stretching to try to figure out who actually has some nastiness about them.
Stretch and say Tyler Adams.
Yeah, at times, but he does it. It's like, is anybody actually scared to go across the middle of the park without getting a tackle into him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think so. And that's a problem, right? And it's something that it's a mentality that I'm going to be a real you-know-what for 90 minutes. And I don't care what you think. I don't care if it means that I'm going to not look good for the gram. I'm not going to, have a pretty clean jersey at the end of the game to be able to swap with somebody. We need some nastiness with the group. Yeah. I would rather take, and I was asked a question before. I think it was 2018. It was one of those, who would you want as your defensive midfielder? And I said, I'm advocating for Kyle Beckerman to be a defensive midfielder in this group. And the person I said, you're absolutely crazy. He's nowhere near the group that we have technical wise. And I was like, oh no, we're not disagreeing on that. I agree with you. Right. But Kyle Beckerman will elbow you as he's coming in from behind in your lower back, right? Like he will go in and he will do, he'll have the bite about him. He'll have some nastiness about the way that he plays. So I would rather have a player that's of lesser prestige, but some real toughness and determination. Now, who's that player? That's the next question, right? Who's going to replace it? I don't have that answer for you right now. I think somebody could really emerge over the course of the next 12 to 13 months to put themselves in a candidacy for a spot in this really pivotal World Cup. If somebody can prove they can be a real pain in the butt, a real grinder, a real, just somebody that is master of the dark arts, figure out how to play. Why do we love Diego Chara so much? Because he'll kick you across the middle, pick you back up, so he stays out of the referee's book. That's what we appreciate him so much, right? We don't have somebody like that for the U.S. men's national team. And the second we do, then all of a sudden we get a bit nastier in the midfield. We become a bit more difficult through the middle of the park. And now all of a sudden, maybe we can start to win some of these nasty matches in CONCACAF matches away that suddenly aren't a sure thing anymore.
Yeah.
Atlanta United's been looking for one of those since Jeff Larentowicz.
You know what? Yeah. Is Jeff Larentowicz the greatest player that's ever played for Atlanta United? No. But you knew what you're going to get from him every single time. And you can respect the hell out of somebody that will lay into a tackle and will be a leader in that sense and make sure everybody else around them is doing their part. Give me a guy like that over somebody slightly more skillful, but who's scared to actually run the show in the middle of the park and be nasty.
Yeah.
So this is game 3 of 3 for Atlanta United during this homestand. And we said they needed either 7 points or they needed 9. They get the draw against Dallas, so now they're at 4. We've been saying it's very important for this team to have a good homestand because in July, they're going to be gone for 6-ish weeks. So do teams look at that? I know that you always hear, it's one game at a time. But do coaches or players look at that and know that we need to get points now because it's going to get a lot harder in the summer?
Yeah. There's periodizations, right? You look at everything and you look at how can we break this down. Some choose to do it in 4-game cycles. Some choose to do it in 8-game cycles. Some will look at homestands, away stretches, right? And I know some teams, you look at Montreal, they have to play their first 7 games on the road, right? They may look at it and they go, for us, realistically, we may just need 7 points, over these 7 games, right? And it's a weird expectation, right? But a point on the road. You win at home, you tie on the road. You put yourself in a spot to be in the playoffs every single year with that sort of verbiage, right? But everything ebbs and flows. So I can't speak exactly to what Atlanta's would be or what that mindset would be. But without a doubt, you would be naive to not look at the summer schedule to understand how difficult it is, and to realize that these stretches, when you get early on in the season, 3 games in a row at home, yeah, you absolutely at a minimum have to pick up 7 points. So maybe a bit more pressure in this game. Every game has pressure, right? That was very elementary and rudimentary of me to say. I think that there is a bit more emphasis that 3 points is the expectation, and anything less is sort of a letdown in this mindset. And when you play against New England, you should expect to be able to pick 3 points up at home, especially a squad as strong as Atlanta, because I don't think that New England right now is convincing me that they can go on the road against a full strength Atlanta and be able to beat them. They're going to need a lot of things to go their way to the Revolution if they want to come into Mercedes-Benz and pick up any points, let alone maximum points. I think Atlanta should be the team that are the most aggressive ones. Atlanta should be the one that set the tempo, and the 17s very much should play their part in this sense, and feeling as though what we can control outside of the white lines with the energy and making the place miserable to go and play against. I think that should be the expectation for everybody that steps foot that isn't wearing a New England Revolution kit on Saturday.
Well, now you're an honorary. One of those.
I'll take one of those cool looking jerseys, right? I don't know. I worked for Nashville for a couple of years. Am I still allowed? I was the broadcaster there.
We'll let it go. It's okay.
There we go. No, I've never had a bad time, man. That's one of the most incredible venues. I got a chance to do Chelsea versus Club America last year there, commentated with Cal Williams, and that was so cool. Actually, it was a big memory for my family too. My boys, Cade and Jameson, got a chance to walk out with Chelsea, so they were great, man. It was such a cool experience for them, and so they got to see what it was like walking through the tunnel. Yeah. And my 8-year-old Jameson walked away being like, "That was really cool." I think it gave him that core memory that he wants to replicate one day, where maybe he can walk out, who knows, wearing the 5 stripes. That's at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, man.
It is an impressive thing to walk once you step out of the tunnel and just look up. It's
the
almost
train horn. I love the train horn. I don't know why. I just love it. It's at a ridiculously stupid decibel level, and it lets you know that it's intimidating. But I mean, what a privilege it is to be able to play there. We as fans are fortunate to be able to go and watch games there, myself commentating. So I'm really, really excited to be able to see this game unfold, and it should be a good one.
Yeah. So. Well, I know you're at practice. We'll get you out of here real quick. I just got a couple quick. One, are you going to be doing any of the Club World Cup stuff, or can you say yet, or do you know?
Fingers crossed. Working on a couple of things. A couple of conversations are happening, so looks positive. But Atlanta wouldn't be a terrible place to be.
Yeah, for sure.
But fingers crossed if the big man upstairs has it in his plans. That'll be hopefully it all works out. But man, what a treat it is to be able to have so much exciting soccer coming to Atlanta. And every time I go there, you're just always caught with the bug of just how amazing that place is, the people, the diversity, the real love for the game. And man, I can't wait to see what it's going to continue to be like for you guys. I'm so excited for y'all.
Is there anything about this particular one against New England? You touched on kind of where New England's at, but positional matchups, players kind of to watch going against each other. Is there anything specific that you're looking for in this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a real youngster left back, Peyton Miller. I'm anxious to see him. He's got a bright future as part of the U.S. youth national team setup now. I'm excited to see how he's going to do sort of against that right side for Atlanta. I think that is an area that Atlanta should be trying to test and should be trying to get into that area to see if the youngster can go in and handle this boisterous environment. I think Atlanta should try to lead into that. And then if you can get, Latte Lot on the end of some service early on, man, I think that win, though, against New York should really buoy this side to understand that at no point should this group ever feel like they're out of it, because that match, at times it felt like they should have been out of it, but they weren't. That's the kind of match that if I'm Ronnie Dyla, at any point, if I need to reach into the back pocket, I refer back to that game and say, when you don't quit, you don't give up, you chase plays down, you do everything that you can to put yourself in a position to have a little bit of luck go your way. it did happen, and you created that with some hard work and some preparation. So that was a big one to start this home stretch off, and I'm anticipating a fast start from Atlanta. I'll be disappointed, and I will acknowledge it in the commentary. If 15, 20 minutes in, Atlanta is not on the front foot pressing and creating chances, you will hear me probably interjecting to Josh Easter, my broadcast partner, who's an amazing broadcaster. So good. You guys will really, really, I think, enjoy listening to him call the game when you watch it back after, seeing it in attendance. I think that you guys will hear me saying Atlanta needs to be on it. And if they're up early, it's because they're pressing, I would imagine. So that's how I'm kind of visualizing it all playing out for Atlanta. And if you're New England, you're trying to be able to do everything and stifle that. And that will be a win for them 20 minutes in if they cannot concede and they can make Atlanta feel as though this match is not in their control.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how this unfolds at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. About a 2:45 kickoff on Saturday. Jamie Watson calling it with Josh Eastern on MLS Season Pass. Jamie, appreciate your time. Welcome back anytime. Had a lot of fun, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. Keep up with the great work, you guys, and the comment section. Just keep doing your thing. That was awesome. I appreciate y'all.
Gold over there, man.
Yeah. See ya. All right, you guys. Take care.
Sure, Jamie. Thank you.
Bye.
Good stuff.
Feels good for them to harass someone else besides me all the time in the chat. Feels real good.
Yeah.
I should have drank my Mountain Dew bottle. Nobody would have criticized me.
Some commentators they come on and they ignore the comment section. And it just
probably for the best.
Yeah, it just shows. Which, yeah, totally fine. I love that he leaned into it. I mean, what he said, I had to turn my microphone off for him, and I was not gonna laugh. But no, he's great. Interestingly, I don't even know if he remembers this. I talked to him last year before those summer matches. And really quick, funny story. I was in the middle of trying to do this interview with him. He was at the hotel.
Right.
I was trying to do the interview. Right in the middle of our interview. It's the first time I met him. We had a massive thunderstorm come through. My freaking power went out right in the middle of it. I was so upset. But he was super cool.
Yeah. No, but good to have him on. Good to talk to him. And looking forward to his call on Saturday.
I wanted the group chat. I want to get in the group chat. I had to ask about it. And I think we asked Taylor Twellman about the chat as well when Messi came in. I think that was one of the questions we asked him. Like, what was the group chat? Yeah. Like, was it just going crazy? we have the same thing that he has. I think that's like become the popular thing of group chats. It's like if somebody repeats the same thing. Like we had a friend that would do it all the time. His name was Sloan. Yeah. So he would go, "Oh, you're Sloaning." Another group that I entered in, like it was a turtle. They would post a turtle afterwards. So I'm glad that we got to add a penalty to the Sloaning. I'm going to work on it.
Yeah. Let us know what you come up with. Hopefully something tame and not too.
Yeah.
Finishing your drinks, an interesting one.
Right.
Yeah, I do like that. I mean, especially if you have to take a video of you chugging the drink. Post it in the chat.
Chugging my water.
Or your
inside joke.
Your pint of not chocolate milk.
Right. Yeah. Guys, we have a giveaway we got to talk about.
A giveaway?
Tyler.
A giveaway.
Giveaway. What's the scoop, Tyler?
All right. So the scoop is, all right. So ultimate Sweetwater 420 fan experience. Super thrilled to announce we're giving away 2 of the Cush, love the name, Cush VIP tickets for 420 Fest over at Pullman Yards, which is coming up very soon.
On 420.
On 420 for 18, 19.
And the day before. And the day before that.
So these VIP passes are not just tickets, they're backstage pass to one of the most iconic festivals in Atlanta. If you've never been, 420 Fest has been around for a while, and it is a big deal in Atlanta. So not only are they general admission amenities, but they also unlock a whole bunch of other stuff. So exclusive, what's called Indoor Cush VIP stage. You have sets from Patterson Hood, Mike Cooley, Grace Bowers, Cassandra Lewis, Emily
Cassandra
Wolf.
Lewis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Emily Wolf and Zach Person. So you have exclusive air-conditioned VIP lounge with comfortable seating, got a private bar, complimentary still and sparkling water from Liquid Love, an immersive art craft beer exhibit celebrating 20 years of 420 Fest artwork, band photography, album art, and then, of course, the 420 beer that brought it all about. 420 Basement Experience, which is Sweetwater's Wayne's World inspired arcade. This is a big deal.
Are there Wayne's World video games out there that I've never heard of?
I was very curious about this, but if you win the tickets, you get to go.
Send me pictures. Just Wayne's World is my favorite movie.
Yeah,
it's like a top 5. Have you seen Wayne's World?
It's been a minute.
No, I have not. I know who they are.
Okay. I knew the answer was going to be no, but I just needed confirmation.
Yes.
So in addition to all that, you got indoor restrooms and additional outdoor air conditioned restrooms, which if you've been to 420 Fest in the past, April is either hot or cold. Usually it's hot. So great addition. Premium sight lines of the Waterkeeper Alliance main stage with an exclusive Kush VIP viewing area. Exclusive barbecue menu from Black Girls Grilling. They're the 3-time Eggtoberfest People's Choice Champion. They have big green eggs there for purchase. And then mobile charging station, same day re-entry. So all that being said, that is for the entire weekend, giving away 2 tickets for you and a friend, you and a loved one, you and whoever, to head out and experience 420 Fest in all of its glory. Drink lots of beer, hang out, listen to some great music. So here's how you do it. Instagram, X, Blue Sky. On Instagram, we're going to have a post going up shortly after the show. Tag a friend. Make sure you're following us, Scarves and Spikes, and Sweetwater. All right, so tag a friend on the post. Make sure you're following both of us. X, make sure you're following Sweetwater and Scarves and Spikes, and repost the post with the giveaway graphic. And Blue Sky. Sweetwater doesn't have a Blue Sky. We do.
Yeah.
Follow us and repost, resky, whatever they call it nowadays. I don't know. Resky it. And all those will enter you into a chance. And on top of that, if you are a patron member, scarvesandspikes.com. I'm sorry, patreon.com/scarvesandspikes. Go there. If you're a part of the Patreon, you get extra entries for any giveaway that we do, including this one. So there you go.
And by the way, Atlanta United will be there as well Atlanta United staff will be there. If you want to watch the Atlanta United match versus the Philadelphia Union next Saturday, the 19th, you'll be able to do that as well at the festival. So
yeah. And the area that they have is really cool. It's like a, obviously 420 Fest is a music festival and there's lots of beer, but the Atlanta area that they're going to have, like Sydney said, they're showing the game, which is great, but it's also kind of like an area that you can go to where you can relax a little bit. It's kind of, you got chairs, you can sit down, you can chill. They have like a little turf soccer field. If you bring in kids can go play, but they're going to have the game up on a big screen there for you to watch. So you get to experience 420 Fest and still do Atlanta United stuff.
Absolutely.
VIP areas are like the best. I remember going to Warped Tour as a young teenage Tommy, and they used to have the parents lounge and like it was just a tent and they had a bunch of fans in there, and I snuck in because it was so hot. I crawled under the tent and snuck on the couch. I was the youngest person in there at that time, and I just laid on the couch and passed out. And like 20 minutes later, someone woke me up to make sure I was alive. But now when I look at things, I bought tickets to a festival in Pennsylvania, and it was like a little bit extra for the VIP, and it was like same thing, private bathrooms, private area to sit down. Right. I was like, yeah, if there's a band I don't like, I'm going to that couch and I'm kicking someone off of it because I'm power napping.
No, you're the parent. Now the parent lounges are for you specifically.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, if I would have known as a teenager,
kick your kids out if they go try to sneak in.
I would have been like, man, I can't wait to grow up.
Yeah.
You're telling me it's 90 degrees out here and I get to go enjoy myself and get fans on me and get free water and all that. Now, but like at Warped Tour, they should be like, oh, you can go to this station and get a free Monster. I don't need to drink a Monster when it's 100 degrees. No, that's how you die.
You need.
Yeah.
Sponsor a Monster. But you just don't. 100 degrees plus Monster equals your heart like about to explode.
Skyrocketing.
So win it. Yeah. Take pictures in the parents' lounge and send it to me. The VIP lounge.
We'll be announcing the winner on our MLS Monday show this coming Monday. So be sure to watch the stream, or if you missed the stream live, watch it back or listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeart. Well, that's the winners then.
Easter's on Sunday too.
Yep, it is.
So to win would be exactly perfect for you.
Hey.
Well done.
And if you're there, they actually, because that is 420 as well, and maybe in honor of Easter, I guess, if you want to do it that way, at 420, on 420, they do a toast for 420.
Yep.
And you can also include Easter as well.
Like a toast, like with beer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not like.
Well,
sorry,
you're setting it up.
Sorry,
what you're telling me, you're adding it all up, and it's like that's not a thing. But I understand that it's a thing.
Yeah.
And Cypress Hill's playing, so there's a lot of hopping. That could be a beer thing and a bunny thing at the same time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This tummy's on fire. Sorry.
So go to our website, sweetwaterbrew.com, certainly. Sweetwater420fest.com has the lineups, set times, all of that. But as he says, Cypress Hill will be there, host of other bands. So definitely check that out for more information. And
Insane in the brain.
New England lost again this past weekend. I mean, what else is new?
Let's not make it as bad as it is. They're not getting wrecked. Every game is a 1-goal game, 2-1, 1-0. I'm a little scared. They're not allowing a lot of goals.
That's the thing, but they're not scoring a lot of goals either. That's the problem.
But we're allowing goals. Montreal didn't score a goal from like they scored in the start to 2025, and then they didn't score a goal until 2030. Like that's how long it took Montreal to score a goal after Atlanta United. We're in the future now. We're 2035. And Montreal has still not scored a goal. They have.
But if you look at the match against Cincinnati, they lost 1-0. Santos scored in the 65th minute. New England only had one shot on goal the entire night. So that's sort of symptomatic of the issues that they've been facing. But as he said, they can't score. They can't score goals. They come into this match, guys, with just 3 goals scored the entire season. They've let in 7, so at least their defense is holding up its side of the bargain. But guys, 3 goals for the season, that's abysmal. On a roster where you have Carlos Hill, one is an own goal.
Yep.
So outside of Carlos Hill, who has 2 goals, the 3 of us combined have as many goals as the New England Revolution have. I mean, it's just they have not been able to find the back of the net. And Heel, of course, you expect a lot of because he's your star. Coming off a down season, 7 goals, 5 assists for him. And he's your star player out there at the number 10 spot. He's your captain as well. So you're going to be looking for him to have much better performances than he's been having thus far with the Revs in 2025. Langoni, who they brought in last season, hasn't had the impact that they hoped he'd have so far in MLS. And you just look at this roster. They have Leo Campana, of course. There's their big offseason signing, yet to score in 2025. It hasn't been fully fit thus far in 2025. So if he gets clicking, maybe this team can climb itself out of the hole and make the playoffs. But right now, guys, 3 goals and 1 is an own goal. It's just they're just in a dreadful way from an attacking standpoint. Not a lot to be hopeful for if you're a Revs fan at this point in time. Just speaking honestly.
No, I mean, we mentioned the defense, but I mean the clean sheets are not happening either. So like the goals are to be scored, but I think New England is one of those teams right now that is, I'm going to give them credit. They're not as far away from turning things around maybe as it seems on paper, but Carlos Hill can't do it all and he needs help. I mean, it's similar to DC, right? Christian Benteke can't do it all.
Right.
And, you're a player, maybe 2 from really turning things around, but it also seems like they don't care. And that's if you're a New England fan, that's kind of concerning. If you're a DC fan on that topic, it's also kind of concerning. But
yeah,
I mean, for this Atlanta match, this is where you need that attack to come together, because for all we just said about them, maybe not getting blown out, Atlanta could blow New England out, and should they should, because you see everything, and like Jamie said a minute ago, you're creating chances. It's not like you're not creating chances, but you've got to hit the back of the net, and you need to do it early and often. And he mentioned, kind of hammering that right side. Pick on the young guys. Pick on them. This is your house. Make them hate being there. By halftime, they should want to go home. Seriously, they should not want to be there anymore. Chalk up the loss and let's move on. So you've got to see this attack really, really come together and really push. I want to see, because if you're going to build confidence, the New England game, the New York game was one. At least you saw your attack come together. It didn't quite come together the way you wanted against Dallas. You're facing what's been a weak New England side. Now go show how strong you actually are before you have to go on the road.
Yeah, and I'll say this real quick on the subject of them not caring before. Stevie, you chime in. But you look at the players from New England that went to San Jose to Bruce Arena, and that there speaks volumes about how some of these players maybe haven't gotten on with Caleb Porter. Nick Lima, for example, I remember a couple of years ago, he and Caleb Porter got into it once during a match, I believe. There's another player, who I forget the exact player who it was, but he denied, I guess, Caleb Porter a handshake or something in the tunnel. And Caleb's like, "Don't ever do that again." So Caleb Porter suddenly seems like, that's not to say Bruce Arena isn't, but Caleb Porter certainly seems like it's my way or the highway kind of guy, not a very player-friendly coach. Whereas Bruce Arena, he can be a bit of an a-hole or a jerk. But I feel like guys rally around him. Guys want to play for him where they don't want to play for Caleb Porter. So I feel like, that definitely speaks volumes to sort of maybe what was going on in the locker room at New England over the past couple of years, and maybe what's still going on in the locker room here. I feel like he's on borrowed time, guys. And, if they take a heavy loss at Atlanta United on Saturday, I think he's gone. I really do.
Do you think Bill Belichick leaves UNC to come over handle the Revolution?
I feel like Bill Belichick could do a better job than Caleb Porter this time.
So Atlanta's actually the second most favorited team of the weekend coming in. They're minus 200, which means they should be winning this game. 100% they should be winning this game. The only one that's a little bit more is, shockingly, LAFC minus 210 against the San Jose Earthquakes. The San Jose Earthquakes.
That's it.
I'm shocked at that. That's crazy.
It's plus 450 for San Jose to win. You throw $100 on that, you win $450.
Yeah, wow. Dude, I would take that all day.
Easy money.
LAFC's coming.
See, that's where they get you, Sydney. That's where they always get you. You're sitting there late at night and you're going, "Oh, this is easy money. This late night game is going to work," and then you wake up and you're broke.
Right.
So, that's wild though.
That's why we don't give gambling advice in the show.
That's true.
Part of it is because sports gambling is illegal in Georgia, but not air quotes, but not in Ohio. But yeah.
But that's interesting.
I'm really shocked at that, though. That's crazy.
That was the one that I looked at, and I was like, "That's." I don't know. Actually, and what's interesting, you go back to the Dallas game. Dallas was plus 350 against Atlanta to win that game. Now, I understand you're on the road, but plus 350 when you had a guy that is an Atlanta United killer with Lucha, I was like, that's especially with all the players Atlanta had out. A couple guys out, a couple important players that were out. I was like, that's an interesting one, but plus 450 is pretty wild to me.
What about the draw?
For this game?
Show that. I was talking about Dallas, but yeah, for this game.
I had to remember. I think it was like plus 100, but a draw is plus for this game. A draw is plus 340.
Okay.
So they don't even think they're going to draw. That's not even close. If Atlanta loses this game, that's no bueno when you look at that. But I mean, with that LAFC San Jose game, oof, that's crazy to me.
Yeah,
but
considering what is about to happen in like 2 hours with this match that they have to play against Miami.
It's going on right now, right?
Is it right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a
Miami.
Miami.
I'm thinking of the Vancouver game. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 0-0 still when I looked at it.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But
anyway,
yeah, me neither. But no, from a mindset standpoint, and you obviously don't want to lose any match you play in, but if you do lose to New England, even though you're saying in the locker room in the training ground, hey, we can't take this team lightly, even though they're bottom of the table. If that happens, like, how does this affect the team mentally? We'll know affect the fans drastically. How will that affect the players? I mean, back in their minds, they're like, there's no reason why we should be losing to a team this poor. So you take that coupled with you only take 4 points out of the maximum, out of a possible 9 from a 3-match homestand. It just kind of messes with your psyche a little bit. And that's one thing that needs to be kind of not overlooked. I mean, you need this win not only for the points, but to really give yourself that boost, because you don't want to go on the road having dropped points against a team you should very much win against and still not above the playoff line. If you beat New England, that'll put you on 12 points, which is a very good chance that you'll be above the playoff line by the time we get to the end of Sunday night when all the matches are played. But it has to be a mentality that we have to win this match because, like Tyler, you were saying, quality is just different. There's just that gulf in quality. And even though, yes, this is MLS, anything can happen, you can't mess around with a team like this.
No. And I mean, I'm wary about having that conversation before, it happens. Like, but you always, unfortunately, you have that feeling of, is the other shoe going to drop? And this would be, if they were to lose or even draw, but especially lose, it'd be very demoralizing, incredibly demoralizing. And at that point, you've got to start figuring out, like, not just how do we get this team operating the way it needs to, but now how do we pull our head out of the proverbial rear end and get it back on track. And, once players start like kind of hitting that really down level, it's hard to pull back out of it, and the inverse of that is you go and you spank New England and it gives you some confidence, which is what should happen on paper. Like you said, MLS is MLS, soccer is soccer. You never know what's going to happen, but this is a golden opportunity for Atlanta. And we talk about the standings. I try to avoid looking at the standings until like the middle of the season anyway. But if you want to look at them, Atlanta United right now is literally 2 wins out of first place. So that's just, it's early season soccer. So it can go all over the place. I mean, but you've got to win the games that you absolutely should be winning. And then on top of that, and you can't do anything about this weekend, but you need to get some statement wins against teams that are higher in the standings than you. When you start playing the Phillies and Columbuses and those guys, like, if you want to prove that you're a big dog, you got to beat the big dogs. So go prove that the money that you spent, the players coming in, the chemistry is building, the fitness is building, you're getting guys back from injury. Prove that all that, is going to turn into a cohesive product.
Yep.
Don't lose this game. Don't lose this game.
Please don't.
Don't draw this game.
Yeah. 3 points or bust.
Yeah.
Well, wait till you see I just saw the predictions in our Discord, and I'm ready to burn some people. Let's go.
Well, what's your prediction for Saturday?
3-1 Atlanta. I know. I was just joking around that I'm nervous about it.
Not messing around.
It has to come together. It has to come together in this game. You're going on the road for 2 against 2 teams that, I'm going to say they're rivals, but you've had some pretty intense matches with both of them with Philadelphia and Orlando. And that's why I asked that question earlier. Like, do teams look at that and say, because you know what the answer is always when media ask players, one game at a time. We don't look at one game. We're not looking at the week ahead. Yes, you are. But that's what you're gonna tell everybody. There's no tomorrow. Yes, there is. Like that, you hear it every time. It's like that you're not your Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Like when you get back, the keys are going to be the locks are going to be changed at that point. You've been gone so long, they deactivated your card. Like you can't get in. That's how long you're going to be gone for Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You need 3 points, or we're turning it off. We're turning your key card off. 3 points or bust.
I hope not.
I'm turning it off. I'm texting Arthur.
Hack into their systems. Tyler, what's yours? What do you think?
2-0 Atlanta.
Not
only get a clean sheet. Noah Cobb shows out in front of Mauricio Pochettino. It's a confidence builder. Yeah, 2-0.
I said 2-1 Atlanta. 2-1 Atlanta. I think they'll win. I think Latte Lot scores, and I think Miggy scores again to give themselves 3 in those many matches. I think he let one in because the defense still isn't all the way there yet. But I think you should have a relatively easy time with this team. It'll be 2-1, but I think it'll feel a lot more than 2-1 just because of the chances that Lady United will ultimately get in this match. I don't have any confidence in this New England team on the road where they've struggled all season long to get 3 points against Atlanta United. 0-1 away from Gillette Stadium, Foxborough. So saying 2-1 Atlanta United in a relatively easy game. I think the scoreline will definitely flatter the Revs in that regard, though. 2-1.
Sweet.
Well, we got to read the rest of them off.
Yes, as far as the rest of the Scars and Spikes staff, Grace had 2-1 Atlanta as well. Aaron, who is our new Atlanta United 2 writer, says 1-1. Henry says 1-1.
Get out of here. Aaron,
Jackson
welcome to Scarves and Spikes, but you got to go. You got to go. This is not how you started off. This is the New England Revolution here. This isn't Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
Jackson yet to submit a prediction by the time of this recording. But
Jackson, if you're watching right now, if you pick 1-1 or 2-2 or 0-0, if you pick 0-0, you're just fired. I don't know if I have that power. Yeah. I don't know if I have that power or not. But
I'll chuck my laptop out in the press box if it's 0-0. Just kidding. But
then Gray. Did we get Gray?
Yeah, I said Gray.
Yeah, we got him. 2-1.
Yeah. Enter our contest. Win 2 VIP tickets to the Sweetwater 420 Fest. You'll be able to watch the Atlanta United game as well. April 18th to the 20th. Again, Instagram, follow Sweetwater Brew and Scars and Spikes on Instagram. Tag a friend in the comments on X. Repost our post on X. And follow Sweetwater Brew and Scars and Spikes on X. And I'm Blue Sky. Be sure to repost or reskeet wherever it's called. Whatever post is on there. To enter.
Did you say reskeet?
That's why they say it. That's what they call it. That's what they call it, reskeet. That's what they're calling it, reskeeting.
No way.
Yeah, they are. Look it up. Google it.
I don't want to Google it.
Repost, reskeet, whatever. It's fine. It's clean.
That's amazing.
There's nothing dirty, but that's what it is.
It's Atlanta. It's Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's Atlanta culture.
Repost it. Repost it. We'll just keep it.
I'm so glad I didn't say that here on the read, dude.
Yeah.
Reskeeting, the act of defecating on a skee ball machine. Again.
That's not what we're talking about.
Do not Google. There's other definitions of it. Do not Google it.
Yeah.
Ignore the. This was not Tommy that started this conversation.
Ignore the Urban Dictionary definition.
It's this guy. He started all the trouble this time. It's always the staff talk after Scarves and Spikes on Wednesday going, Tommy, what the hell are you doing? No, HR. I don't know if we have an HR department.
I saw that.
It might be Tina, because actually, our HR department is probably Tina, because I go upstairs and I show her the stupid things I say, and she goes, how? Like, why? Why would you do that? So she's actually our HR person, but you, this is a new level. Oh, who would do that to a skee ball machine? Like, who goes to Chuck E. Cheese and does that?
We should end on that. I think we should end on that. I play the music. I don't care what you guys say. I'm just ending.
There's one. I can't even read the other definition.
No, just don't.
It's just too extreme.
I haven't seen it.
I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, wait till afterwards, please. Man.
Have you? Okay, kind of the same subject, but not. Have you ever like said a reference, like a term, to somebody, and like they took the word a completely different way?
Yes,
I'm sure I have.
I can't even talk.
So super quick. I went on a whole weekend of watching all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I was like sick one weekend. I just watched them all
once a year.
I'm not a big fan of them, but I go to work the next day and I'm just working with everybody, and I called someone a scallywag. I was like, "Get back to work, you scallywag." The word does not mean. There's other definitions of scallywag. Let's just say I ended up in HR and they're like, did you call that person and a scallywag? And I was like, oh yeah, I just watched the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And they were like, that's not what that word means. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And it was not what I was referencing, but it was. You could look it up later if you want, but it was definitely not what I was telling that worker. But I got in some trouble.
I'm sure. When in doubt, just don't say it.
All right, retweet. Do whatever you want. Just leave the skee ball machines alone, okay, everybody? Have a good night.
What did they ever do to you?